as a child, I grew up in Southern California, and I attended a church, which was actually a Buddhist temple, for most of my childhood. Um, it was called Vedanta, and I studied meditation. Um, I, and I mean, I'm talking like child, like young child. My mom, my cousins, everybody was like into it. Um, Vedanta was really awesome as a child because they had these beautiful gardens that you could walk through. And along the path, there was Mother Mary, there was Jesus, there was God, there was all the uh, just different. It was kind of an eclectic mix of religions, deities from religions, all the way through the garden. So you not only got to learn about the Hindu uh, versions or the Hindu gods, but you also learned about Christian and Catholic and so on and so forth. You learned about all of them. Um, and this was for the kids. Like all of the adults would go to a temple and they did a lot of meditation and they listened to a sermon and that type of thing. But as a child, it was so much fun to walk through the gardens and learn about all these different energies, these different people, or they're actually energies, but at the time I thought they were people. And I would say that I have always been spiritual. I have always loved God. I have always been very, I don't know, I really can't explain the way I feel about my religion or my spirituality. It isn't religion, it's just my spirituality. Anyway, all the way through my life, I've been this way. When I got out of high school, I think I might have even been like just out of high school, I made a point to go to every church within like a 5 mile radius of me and talk to the head person, pastor, whoever it was that was running that particular church, and find out, their views on religion and the rules and the regulations and just their general thoughts about it. And by this time I had some pretty specific thoughts of my own that I wasn't necessarily willing to share with them. I just wanted to hear their side of it. I was literally kind of trying to find a home, I guess you could say, a spiritual home. So I was making a very broad, I looked at a lot of different places and I talked to a lot of different people. And I found not one that thought the way I thought, that felt the way I felt, that worshiped the way I worshiped. Not one. I found them all to be very restrictive and very judgmental and very controlling and very judgmental. Very judgmental. Now, I am not in any way, shape, or form above being judgmental. I have this problem at times, but I am very aware when I am doing it. And I will apologize to the universe when I am doing it. Anyway, so I looked at everything. I mean, I tried everything. I really wanted to find that place where I belonged. The place that where I felt like I was with people who believed like I did. And I could not find it. And I didn't do this haphazardly. I have done this probably my whole and entire life. I did briefly find a place that I really liked. The pastor has since died, and I moved from that area. Believe it or not, this was in Las Vegas. Las Vegas has a very big spiritual community, believe it or not. I don't know why, but they do. Anyway, she had beautiful, very inclusive, all faiths, no judgment type temple that she ran, and it was very nice. I liked the way that she did it, and I liked going there. But for the most part, that is the closest thing I've found to my own personal spiritual beliefs. And even to this day, I don't agree with religion. I don't like it. To be completely honest, I don't like it. I believe that you do not need a person to tell you how to go about believing or how to be a good person. I believe that your spirituality and your quote unquote religion are your personal business. And it's between you and God and your angels and your spiritual team. I don't think that, they always say when you go to an event or like a party or something, don't talk about religion or politics. That's kind of how I feel about it. I don't think it's something that's up for discussion. I don't think it's up for anybody to judge how you choose to do it. I have met people who were Sunday practitioners. Every Sunday at such and such a time, they were at the church. They were tithing their money. They were devout, but they were judging while they were quoting scripture. And that annoys me like I cannot tell you. And I can't tell you how annoyed I get when my friends tell me that I'm supposed to be something other than I am. To which I usually reply, love me as I am or don't love me at all. They get to make the choice. I'm okay with it either way. But I don't want anybody controlling me and trying to tell me that my relationship with my God is wrong. Or that because I trust the intuition that I was born with, that I have worked very hard to develop, is wrong. That annoys me. Nobody has the right to tell you or me or anybody how they worship, how they believe. That is an individual thing for each person to decide, and it is not something that is up for discussion. And it is definitely not something that is up for judgment. And I think more people need to realize you don't need, it would be like me. If I decided that my way was the right way, and I decided I'm going to be a preacher, and I'm going to get followers, and I am going to talk about the Word of God, and I am going to, bring all these people in. If I were ever a preacher, I would be preaching how to do it yourself. I'm not bringing anybody in. I'm not bringing anybody to come to Sunday service and fill my plate. I tithe when I feel drawn to tithe, not because I feel like I have to tithe. I don't think it's even said that you have to tithe. You tithe because you truly believe and you are inspired, even excited by the person you're tithing to or the organization that you're tithing to. I don't think just tithing for the sake of tithing is the way to do it. I think probably, maybe don't tithe in that case. Let's say that you like to go to church and you like to put money in the plate. I say do it. But let's say you like to go to church, but you don't like to put money in the plate. How about if you take the money that you would generally put into the plate, set that aside, and help somebody who wants to start a business? Help somebody who could start a business if they had a little bit of money. Like maybe a young man who wants to do lawn care and he can't afford to buy a mower. But you could buy a mower for him and help him get started. A philanthropist on a small level. Rather than just throwing millions of dollars at churches who don't seem to do anything for anybody except for pay salaries. Now, that's not to say that all churches are like that. I'm sure there are some out there that are doing some really great things. But the salaries that these people are being paid to do great things are ridiculous. Ridiculous. I do not like organized religion. I love God. I love people. And I wish that more people would realize that we are all part of God. All of us. And we all deserve to be treated like that. Would you judge God if he was standing in front of you? No, you wouldn't. Unless you didn't know who he was. So, instead of focusing on somebody's tarot cards or somebody's incense, oh, that one gets me good. Focus on the fact that you could be talking to God. That person that you think is a nobody is probably God. And if everybody functioned in that way, if everybody looked at everybody else as a part of God, wouldn't the world function so much better? It would. It would be beautiful. So you have to make up your own choices. You have to decide how you're going to view God, how you're going to worship God. You have to decide. I don't wear my religion on my sleeve. I do talk about it here, but I don't wear it on my sleeve, and I don't judge anybody for the way that they do it. Well, I do, actually. I'm lying. You know, gratitude. If you are a grateful person, it shows. It's in your mind. It is part of your energy. If you are grateful to the universe for giving you blessings, you express that to the universe every day, or to God, however you want to call it. You don't need to sit down at the dining room table and go through prayer to express gratitude. To me, that is a showy expression. That is an I'm superior expression of your religion. I don't like it. Excuse me, but do you mind if we say grace? I say grace all the time, on a regular basis. I do not need to eat to say grace. All I need to do is look at the flower that just bloomed on my patio, and I think how grateful I am that that flower actually bloomed, that it was beautiful, and that it affected my day. I don't wait until I sit down to eat a meal and then show everybody how grateful I am. It's in here. It's in here. The gratitude is here. And when you're expressing it out here, it's just wrong. It's not right. But if I go to somebody's house who wants to say grace, I'm not going to disgrace them by saying, hell no, you can't say grace. I'm going to hold hands and I'm going to say grace with them. Even though in my house, that's probably not going to happen. And I'm not going to judge somebody because they did say grace. And I'm not going to expect them to come to my house and get annoyed when I'm not asking them to say grace, or insisting that my house does say grace, which is even worse. Oh, you don't say grace? Oh, well. You cuss. Guys, God doesn't care if you cuss, okay? God has better things to worry about than whether or not you're cussing. Now, if you don't want to cuss, that's fine. But don't associate somebody's love of God with whether or not they actually cuss, because the two are not synonymous. You can cuss and still love God. So drop the judgment on that one. Same thing with things that are not perfect. None of us are perfect. I don't care how perfect you think you are. None of us are. We all have flaws, and we all have issues, and we are all working on those, or we're not. At times, we're not, and that's okay. Just don't judge people for trying their best. I will judge somebody for not trying their best. I will admit. So I have to take my own advice here. We all need to remember that the key is to not judge. We shouldn't be judging other people, and other people should not be judging us. And when we do, we can expect judgment back. I also fall into this category, okay? I'm nowhere near perfect. I see somebody walking around with 5 different colored hairs and I fall into judgment. Sorry, I do. I fall into judgment. I see somebody walking around with cat ears on their head. I fall into judgment. And I just have to keep working to make sure that I get better and better and better at doing it or not doing it. And that's all you guys need to do too. That, and know that you do not need a congregation and you do not need a leader to love God. You can love God, worship God right here. And it is, to me, a relationship that is 24/7, not just something you do on a Sunday morning before breakfast. It is something that you feel and you do it all the time. You don't do it just when you go to church. You do it every day, from the time you wake up till the time you go to bed. Love you. Blessings.